Wrestle Magic Pod, official sponsors of British Empire Wrestling.
All right, everyone. Tonight's episode of Wrestle Magic, we are having a very special guest here. Well, I should say two, actually, because tonight we are interviewing Mr. Masahiro Chono, who is somebody from the 90s and from the 80s who was an amazing athlete. And I absolutely love watching his work over the past few days and really getting to know his career. He is incredible. And I hope a lot of you guys are going to learn a lot. But also with us will be translating and interpreting for us will be Mr. Sonny Onoo. So thank you so much to the both of you for being here. And I heard you guys are at a convention today. How's that going for you guys?
今日のイベントはどうでしたかって。いや、big event, so many fans. Yeah, we were nonstop today. Like he said, so many fans. I mean, we didn't have a dull moment. It was constantly people asking for sign, photo op. We had a professional photo op too, and it was an amazing day. I mean, nonstop, literally. Nice. So you guys were feeling all the love then. Glad to hear it. Oh, yeah. Well, what happened was, what Mr. Chono just said was that he was, I think, I'm interpreting a little bit, but he was a little disappointed because most of the fan was all men. Not too many women. Maybe. Yeah, but maybe. in Japan, my event, say 99% is men, old men. he said, I hate every time I say it. He said he doesn't know, but his fan bases are 99% men. But I think today, America, this people, one generation more younger, I feel like. Maybe 40s or this type. I think the fan here was maybe one generation younger than our age. Of course, I'm older than him. But, so, but we were in WCW at the same time and New Japan at the same time, 90s, right up till about 2000, a little after 2000. Of course, Mr. Chono was amazing top talent of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and probably held every belt there was. And of course, if people can go on YouTube and see that Mr. Chono kind of double-crossed me with NWO. You know all about that. We don't want to go. I don't want to, get him upset again. But it was a great storyline, and Mr. Chono and Mr. Muda became like Hall and Nash of NWO Japan. And this event was actually to let the people know, for 28 years in making, NWO Japan came back to the United States, NWO Muda, and of course, great Masahiro Chono. Absolutely. And it's really cool that you guys were able to reunite and come out to another event like that. And it seems like Muto-san and Chono-san had a very long career and working together. Did you guys kind of see each other almost as like brothers, or how do you guys feel about each other like that? Basically, we started with the same day, going the dojo, start training same day, and the same days we make first match to debut match. Yeah, debut match for them was the first. For their debut match, they wrestled each other, and they came in together. Believe it or not, I'm giving my 2 cents of that tidbit here to make it more interesting. But you have Jushin the Liger, Yamada-san became a Liger, Hashimoto, which was top New Japan wrestler, and you got Masahiro Chono and Keiji Muto. There was all first Young Lion group that became core, of course, 1990 and 2000 top wrestlers. Of course. And that is one of the greatest classes that I can ever think of. Honestly, I can't think of a better group at that point. But what was training like for you when you had first began back then? I'm curious. この時のトレーニングは道場の一番始まりに道場トレーニングちょっときつかったですかとか。First, I think, first month, second month, maybe we can go in together to the oldest senpai wrestler. Just beginning squat or push up or just a basic physical training. Physical day, about 1 hour. After 1 hour,
え俺で、プロレスラーズ先輩はもうオンリングで、マット、からまあ、
日本語でいいです。
なんですか、ウエイトやったりとか、それぞれの後半はいろんなジュニアやらせるんですけども、俺らはまだデビュー前だ。デビュー前なんで、その後も外も出されて、ちょっとやっぱり1時間ぐらい階段登りとかね。
The physical training was amazing. He said amazingly hard because they would do 1 hour of calisthenics, handle squats and all that stuff. And while the senpai, the seniors, would get in the ring and work out, go through their wrestling moves, because there was before their debut match, they were young lions, they're trainees still. So they would have to go outside and do, the stairs and a lot of physical training. Amazing amount of 何時間ぐらいですか？
午前中3時間ぐらいです。
But 3 hours straight of nothing but physical training before they even learned how to wrestle.
Wow. Amazing. So you guys are really pushing through it, just barely starting out, but hey, that's what builds great stars. Champions are made when nobody else is watching. So something that I also would like to ask, so before you ever became a wrestler, before you ever stepped through those doors to even start training, what was your childhood like, and who was Masahiro Chono before becoming a wrestler?
チョノさん子供の時は、レスラーになる前にね、もうどういう、チョノさんはどういうような子供だったんですかって。
もう喧嘩ばっかりしてましたね。
So I was always fighting as a young boy.
で、I born to States. I come back to Japan 2 year half.
アメリカで生まれたの？
アメリカ生まれたんですよ。
嘘、知らなかった。He just told me. I just found out something I didn't know. He was born in the United States.
Oh, I never knew that. Where were you born at, man?
No, I didn't know. I never heard of it before.
シアトルで生まれて。
He was born in Seattle.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
2 year half years old, go back to Japan.
When he was 2.5 years, he went back to Japan.
Yeah. Because I don't know Japanese style custom. This go some people's house, no take shoes, go to tatami or this that. I think from this type から、everybody say 怒られて。それで、my image はもうファイトバック。
So he was 2.5 years old when he first went back to Japan, so he didn't really know the costume. Like, Japan, everybody take their shoes off, right? When you come into people's house. Well, he didn't know that, so he would get yelled at. So he kind of, he said, what am I supposed to know? So he was always, because there was a conflict, he was always fighting somebody. So as his childhood, he was doing this all the time.
Always fighting with somebody. Well, that's interesting. I never knew that you were born in the United States.
I just found out just now.
Oh, sorry.
Interesting. That's amazing. So moving over from America to Japan, so you're saying that you had some culture shocks and everything. Was there anything that you maybe missed from being in America at that point? Or was it just, you were so young you didn't really realize all the changes?
2歳半だったから、アメリカの。
もうメモリ何もないです。
Yeah, he doesn't have any memories.
Well, that's fair enough. So when exactly did you start getting into wrestling then? I'm curious about that as well.
レスリングの興味が始まったのはどのぐらいですかね？
だから18 years old ですかね。
When he was about 18, he got really interested in pro wrestling.
Interesting. So were you starting off just watching, or did you just go straight into the school thinking, yeah, this could be fun for me?
Yeah, I'm this age なので、浪人中だったんですよ。要は大学がまだ決まらなくて。
So after high school, he wasn't sure what college he was going to go.
で、まあ高校ぐらいとかやっぱ悪いことばっかしてたから。
He was always in trouble as a high schooler.
だからやっぱちょっと厳しい世界っていうのがやっぱ新日本プロレスっていうのがやっぱエンターテインメントだけではなくてなんかプロレス道みたいな厳しい世界にちょっと飛 トライしようっていうような、そういう気持ちでした。自分で。
Says he thought about. I just asked if he thought of this is on his own. He thought he needed some very strict discipline of something, and he realized pro wrestling was certainly that avenue, and that's why he decided to go into try out pro wrestling.
Okay.
And just to give you my 2 cents, not everybody can even try out to be a pro wrestler. すごく厳しいもんね. Yeah, many people would like to become a pro wrestler, but physically and mentally, it's amazing. Like he was telling me what his training was like. It's amazingly challenging. すごくハードだよね.
Yes.
So just a guy who can survive the training alone, or you know, because dojo, pro wrestling dojo is a lot like sumo dojo. But that's where training is. So sumo みたいにやるもんね. だから and that's, if you know anything about sumo, young boy who wants to be a sumo wrestler, very, very hard and harsh.
Yeah. It's amazing seeing how far people can come when they really want something. But a profession like that, like a lot of other professions where you have to be very physically fit and you have to train and you have to have that discipline, that kind of shows who has the guts, who really wants to be there. So I 100% respect that. Yeah, you definitely fought for something more and you really made sure that you had that discipline within you. So I just respect to you for going after it. And I see what you mean, you know, I mean, not everybody's cut out for a lot of things, honestly, but pro wrestling would definitely be one of those, like being a pro athlete of any sort. But I also was kind of wondering, because seeing your style in the ring, I was kind of wondering where exactly that was developed from. And did it have anything to do with how you were fighting before you were a wrestler?
あなたのラスリングスタイルはどっから来たんですかねって、子供の時から喧嘩してたからそんなような感じかなって。
いや、でも、プロレス、I start this young boy. 武藤、橋本、ライガー、ever strong. Because on street different.
Yeah. His classmate, Liger, Hashimoto, Muto, you know, his peers at the time when they came up together, and they were so amazing. They themselves were so amazingly tough. So maybe some of his childhood might have rubbed off on his character, but you know, he just wanted to be equal to them.
まあ、それはちょっとfirst day, I become shock, big shock. Mr. Sakaguchi is vice president. He's not top, but number 2.
No, judo.
Mr. Inoki is next is Sakaguchi. But number 2, because I'm not looking so much.
Right.
I'm checking only number 1, Mr. Inoki. This one, Mr. Sakaguchi come to the first day. Me and Muto in dojo, he introduced to all boys for me and Muto.
So first, you know, he always looked up, of course, at Antonio Inoki, but number 2 in a company was Mr. Sakaguchi. By the way, you know, he's the Olympic judo for Japan, amazing stature of a man, but he came to dojo the very first day of their training.
He's so big.
He's he's heavyweight.
And his feet, もうすっごいでかいんですよ。
He has big feet, huge feet.
I watch, I think never cannot win.
Yeah, he just realized that his persona was so bigger than life. He said, no way I could win against guys like him.
で、あと、道場のそのレスラー。
Yeah.
This time, we have wrestling magazine, but we don't know so much. I don't know so much. So top people, I know, but some younger boys or middle class wrestler, I don't know nothing.
So he knew. Of course, he had a magazine in Japan, the pro wrestling magazine. So he recognized and knew who the top stars was. But middle card guys, so yeah, you know, he's senpai. He's senior, but you know, they weren't the top guys. He didn't know.
Yeah. So the first day, Sakaguchi-san and all boys, but all boys almost, I don't know, which kind.
Yeah, he didn't recognize.
All I must to win this guy. I think I cannot.
Yeah, he mentally he's going, well, if I want to get better, I have to beat all these guys, who's their senior, but, they weren't the top guys. And he just couldn't amazing how good they all were.
Of course, years of experience and such will always, eventually you'll look back on it and say like, okay, I can definitely understand where they are now. So I see what you mean, but I'm sure eventually you kind of looked back and saw like, well, I saw them at a certain point, but now I'm at a certain point. Did you ever feel like after a certain point you either became equal to or surpassed them, or did you always just feel like they are still, above in a way?
入場してから、もう試合に出てから、この先輩の試合しましたね。で、いつに自分がトップに上がると思いましたかって。何年ぶりかな。
まあだからなんていうんですかね、まあリングの上のトップをもう行ってるってやっぱ NWO をやってた90、もう7年からその後のもう2、3年っていうのはもう自分がそのプロモーションからハウスからNWO とか俺らのチームティーム戦とかがやってたっていうのはその時期でしょうね。
When he first, only time he really remember realizing was, he was striving to get to the top. And when he probably realized for himself that he had achieved that top echelon of level was 1997 or so, late 96, 97, when he became NWO Chono. And then of course that led on to Team 2000, his own group, and that's when he realized he had achieved that status. Excuse me, right around there, 96, 97.
Okay, so about 96, 97, you started to feel
yeah.
But after I take this position, next, I must fight his owner, Mr. Inoki.
He says that's when he realized I am worthy of challenging Mr. Inoki, that, of course, founder and top wrestler of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Of course. And something I also did want to ask, so Mr. Inoki was the leader, I take it, of your dojo and everything? Was he your main trainer at that point and like one of your bigger influences?
Mr. Inoki は道場で教えてなかったです。
そうですね、道場のコーチは、コーチでいて、猪木さんとか坂口さんっていうのは、巡業先とか、シリーズ中なんかとか稽古つけてくれたりとかあるんですよ。
But like Inoki-san and Sakaguchi-san was so top, so they didn't come in and train the young boys, but they were certainly trainers. But that's what they aspire to be able to not only train but be able to challenge them. That was their goal.
Okay, interesting. So finally having that feeling of pride, I guess, and knowing that they are high enough up in whatever ranking system or whatever it may be, that was, I guess, a feeling of pride and honor that you were finally able to challenge Mr. Inoki. That's really interesting. I like that. But something else I also would like to ask. So I read up on Wikipedia that you spent some time in Europe and that you trained with Otto Wanz and all kinds of other people. How was that experience for you?
ヨーロッパにいた時のね、オロワンとかにトレーニングした、その時代はどうでしたか？
もうヨーロッパ、ドイツもやっぱりそのアメリカンスタイルのプロレスが、WWE スタイルが、まだちょっとこう、
違いますね。
まだこう、なる状態で、そのもう古い、もう本当に、 キャッチなんとかっていう、
キャッチレスリングとか。
キャッチレスリングっていう、そのベースが半分残ってる感じでしたね。
He says when he went to Europe, and of course, to New Japan does this, by the way. They'll send young boys to a foreign country, like I did with Yuji Nagata. So, when he was, company thought he was good enough, they would send him to Europe to learn wrestling there. And what he's saying is that they do the thing called catch wrestling, which is, they call them hook wrestling here, but, it's real wrestling, right? It's submission wrestling. But so he realized when he went to Europe, they were like 50% shoot, real catch wrestling.
Because after this, my time, New Japan Pro Wrestling, American style is Choshu Master Saito. それから、カール・ゴッチスタイル、ストロングスタイル。
Yeah.
こっちはだから UWF。
Yeah.
で、この UWF の人たち、はみんなヨーロッパ、イギリスとかで修行で、そこでやっぱり影響されてるんですよ。
He studied, of course, Masahiro and, American style, learned certainly from him, being his senior, but he also worked with a company called UWF, with a lot of European style catch wrestling. So he studied them both. And they become much more well-rounded wrestlers, so they can wrestle anybody in the world.
Interesting. So it definitely helped round you off a little bit and teach you a little bit more. That's interesting. So do you think that it really affected your style and really helped craft you into who you became? Or do you think it was just something that just, I don't know, maybe it helped you, but it didn't quite, shape you or anything?
だから、蝶野さんのスタイルは、これいろいろみんな習って混ぜたスタイルですよね。
そうですね。だから、ニュージャパンは、俺らの時代はレスラーにデビューさせるにあたって、本当の基本的なボディスラムが一番の大技ですよね。で、だからあと普通のアマチュアのレスリングみたいな動きから、固め技とかも片襟固めとか、ボストンクラブと両足を持つっていう風になったら、ちょっと大技ぐらいな。とにかく、技を、ほぼ基本的な技しか教えてもらわないです。
He says, one thing he can remember about that time is that because of catch wrestling involved and what they were learning, New Japan style or strong style, a lot of their moves, certainly real submission wrestling. You know what I mean? So in order for them to become well-rounded wrestler, they have to study and learn and become proficient in all the styles. But yeah, he said, his style derived from a lot of that.
Interesting. Okay, because when I was speaking to people about, having you on the show and everything and talking about your style and everything, some people described you as almost a submission brawler. Would you say that that's accurate to how you see yourself as well?
だから、お客様にいろんな他の人に聞いて、yeah, like real fighting, right? His style is like real, brawler. 喧嘩してるみたいな試合ですねって。
でもNWO の後っていうのがやっぱトップになってるんで、さっき言ったように今度会社とのこの圧力があるわけですよね。文句も言うんだけど。だからね、やっぱその会社と喧嘩をしてるっていうのが、やっぱりリングに上がって、で、俺らがトップで俺らが客呼んでるっていうプライドがやっぱり、こういう。
So what he's saying is that his persona, with Masahiro Chono, was pretty, men in black, edgy, but anti-company, because he was always for shoot, for real, he was fighting with the company, the direction his company going, and how he was being used or whatever. So he always had an edge about himself, and I think that relates to his persona, the character he was.
Oh, absolutely. And I could kind of see that for sure. I mean, you didn't wrestle like everybody else. You didn't have a character like everybody else. You seemed different. And
蝶野
that's
さんのキャラクターも全然他の選手と全然違うので、ラスリングスタイルもちょっと違うので、それは彼みたいなファンも見てたらすぐ分かりました。
But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to see like you weren't like everybody else, and I think that's what kind of set you apart as well, and it makes you interesting to watch. And there were a few things that some people wanted me to definitely mention. Like our producer actually wanted me to ask you about your match that you had with China back when. You wanted to ask how it felt working with her in the ring and everything. What was that experience like?
いや、チャイナと試合し、その時はどう？
いやもう困りました。
He says, I had a lot of problems. I worried about it. And, 女の人試合するの大変だよな。
だからまず最初に、やっぱ神さんにマルティナに話をしました。
He says, before I could even agree to wrestle China, I had to talk to him. I had to get a permission from his wife.
で、one day before, 東京ドーム、プレパーティー。
Yeah.
I was on stage.
Right.
China and me.
Face off, then.
Face off.
Yeah. One day before the, of course, big Tokyo Dome show, China and him had to do a face off for the press.
Never, my wife, Martina, she go together press conference.
Yeah, she had never been to press conference for Chono. So
Martina.
But Martina came. His wife came to watch the press conference.
Maybe I come entry here. Inoki-san and China.
Yeah.
They make some interview.
Yeah, Inoki in China was doing an interview. He entered from the other side.
Martina, ブワーッとまっすぐ走って歩いてって、チャイナのとこでバッと入って、で、予兆のワイフのマルティナがっていう感じの。
He says, all of a sudden, he didn't know this, but his wife got in the press on the front of the camera and confronted China. It's, I'm Chono's wife. And just so you know.
で、5 minutes, they just talk.
Yeah.
And then after my wife come back, she said, no problem. She's okay. She's a fighter.
Yeah. So that's when his wife came back to him and says, after she had discussion with China or confrontation with China, he came back to Chono-san and said, okay, I have no problem with this match. She's a real fighter. So, have at it.
I like that. And that's pretty cool though. I like that your wife actually got involved a little bit and showed a lot of interest in what you were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a tidbit I was going to tell you earlier, just a second ago. Many of the spouse have the kayfabe. They don't know it's a match.
Really?
Many of the women, especially that time.
Interesting.
I can tell you story after story of a spouse, being disappointed or crying and that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's really interesting. They kayfabe, especially then, they protected the idea of pro wrestling.
Okay, so they were definitely a part of the show. I like that. That show was real dedication.
Not knowing that they were part of the show. You know what I mean?
Amazing. That is pretty cool, though. Now, the end of that match, well, afterwards, I should say, there was a moment where you put China over your knee and you smacked her bottom for a second. Was your wife okay with that as well? And whose idea was that?
Yeah. This day, my wife to the front seat. Ringside meeting.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah. First time she was on ringside at that moment.
Yeah. I'm so nervous for Martina.
Oh, he was so nervous about his wife being in front
Because
seat.
China, big test.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm taken to the back or lock up, something touch.
Yeah. Her breast was, because she had big breasts, so when he does movement, he would touch her, his forearm and stuff. So he says he was worried about how his wife would react to any of that stuff.
で、チャイナもだから、she don't like I to fighting for women.
Yeah.
She don't like to women ね。
だから、yeah, he didn't like the fact that he would take it easy on a woman. He just彼女もじゃあ試合だけしたかったね。
そうそう。だから多分女としての扱いをされるのが、
な
やっぱプライドとして初めての日本の東京ドームで、見せたくなかったんじゃないかなっていうのだから。
He feels that the China didn't want the first time in Tokyo Dome, Japanese fan, that the women was weak or women was, less than. And so she had much pride too, on this match.
それで、だから俺もやっぱそれがあったんで、もう普通の男と同じような試合で、もうバーッとヤクザキック入れたりとかしたら、やっぱここら辺がもう切れてたんですよ。顔とかどっかいろいろ。で、俺もそれを後から聞いて、それで彼女が終わって、シェイクハンドかみたいなのしたのかな。その時ももう泣いてたんですよ。で、後から聞いたら、やっぱり、そのファースト、新日本の東京ドームで、その猪木さんが連れてきてというところの、その彼女のその WWE の時のキャラクターを、やっぱそれをこう守ろうとしてる。で、それをなんか、やっぱすごいプレッシャーだったんでしょうね。
She probably had an amazing amount of pressure because first time Tokyo Dome, Inoki-san brought him over. Then she wanted to protect her persona from WWE, bigger than life, strong woman, no second to him, any man. So after the match, I think she had injury with the Yakuza kick, maybe by her ear. And I think I saw a little tear. So I'm sure a lot of emotion. I don't think she was, not because of the way the match went. I think because she felt that she didn't live up to her idea. So, yeah, so he kind of understood a little bit of that.
Interesting. Honestly, I thought the match was very good. And the both of you, I'm not sure how, but you guys flowed very well. And I thought your styles, clashed very well together. And I thought it worked, pretty well for the storyline and everything about it. I thought was just well written, honestly. I was pretty blown away with the match. I thought it was better than I was expecting. Honestly, it was one of my favorites of yours. I will say that much for sure.
彼の一番、それは一番素晴らしい長野さんの試合だと思いますって、よく。
But yeah, I mean, after watching a lot of your guys' stuff, so I saw you versus Muto multiple times, but it seems like every time you guys have a different sort of chemistry. It feels like you two just know how to work with each other, and it's something that you guys are just very organic together. Do you guys always feel like you had a bond together whenever you got into the ring together because you've been training so long together, or was there, every time did you guys feel different? How did you always feel with Muta?
何回も武藤さんと試合しましたよね。でも、いつも彼からファンの方から見ると、本当にこの人たちは合わせますねって試合もさ、いい試合を見せてくれるんで、なんか同じような気持ち、なんかありますか、他の選手とか。
やっぱりその試合の組み立てとかで、やっぱそういう、なんですか、アップダウンがありながらっていうような、で、そこはやっぱ人それぞれみんな違うんですよ。でも、俺と武藤さんはね、そこの感性は似てんだと思う。
He says, he says he wrestled different wrestlers. They all have different idea how the match should go or, the flow of the match and stuff. But he believes that Muto-san and Chono-san is very similar in the way they think, where the match, the harmony of the matches and stuff. So they fit very well whenever they have matches.
I agree. Totally agree with that. Now, thinking about your time in WCW and being a part of NWO Japan, that was something different for sure. Now, who was responsible or in charge of all the creative control with that? Who was making a lot of the decisions that went on during that?
NWO になった時、入った時、WCW の時代の時に、ストーリーなんてこと誰がやってたんですかって。
日本のですか？
違う、アメリカのは。アメリカが始まった時は、WCW の時。キャビン・サロバンですよね。
いや、俺らだからその前の、誰でしたっけ？ボス。エリックさんの前のボス。
ビル・ワットです。
ビル・ワット。ビル・ワットの前から、ビル・ワットからですよ。
でも NWO が入ったのもうみんなベショフさんもですよ。
いや、そうですよ、そうですよ。
やっぱり、it was Eric Bischoff and Kevin Sullivan, who was intricate of making the matches or.
ケビン・サリバンさん。そう。いや、俺全然その辺あんま気にしてないから。
Yeah. He didn't really worry about it because, but once he got back to Japan, was NWO Japan, 誰がやったの NWO Japan の。
それも自分でやりました。
Yeah, so he was in charge of all the matches and stuff. It was Chono-san, because he was a leader of NWO Japan, right? I mean, he really was. And then, of course, they had their fraction, Tenzan とか、ヒロとか。
アメリカにいごとステイツの時はもう何も全部やっぱもう受けるだけです。
So while he was in America, part of it, NWO in the United States, he just did, whatever they needed him to do. But, NWO Japan success, which was one of the success, it was one of the very successful angle in New Japan history. I mean, they sold something like $8 million worth of T-shirt in 1998. So that success belonged to Mr. Chono or NWO Japan. He was the leader, and the rest of NWO, because they took the angle of NWO that was happening in WCW and duplicated successfully in Japan. NWO Japan versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was angled, and they did it almost better than we did in WCW.
I'll agree with that for sure. But then on top of that, I did want to also ask you, so how exactly did it come to fruition that you would be the leader of NWO Japan?
どうやって長野さんが NWO のトップの、
はい、トップの、一番最初にだからもう、1996のディセンバーかな。マサさんとアメリカ入って、で、まだそういう4人ぐらいしかね、ケリー、ナッシュとスコット・ホール、ホーガン、そう3人ぐらいしかいなかったですね。
he was one of the original guys that got into NWO in the United States, right? Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hogan was the third man. Then, of course, this angle with the NWO Japan idea, because we were doing so much business with New Japan. And, he's right up there, one of the original NWO guys. So when he went back to Japan, of course, he was in charge of NWO Japan. Of course, if you know the history, and this is very, I was part of a birth of NWO Japan because I was managing Mr. Chono, and I'm talking about how great New Japan is because that was, my little thing. And of course, visually, he pulls his coat back and he's wearing an NWO shirt. And, so at that moment, when he joined the NWO, unbeknownst to me, story-wise, and I bring Great Muta to avenge my honor next week, and of course, he turns on me as well. Mm-hmm. And, that became the birth of NWO Japan.
This time, WCW, more backyard. Every week changes this power game. Somebody's tongue とかね。because I'm from Japan, seem like outsider.
Yeah, he was outsider, so yeah.
I understand, but everybody's every week, this Monday, might don't know this time, some trouble, looks like trouble. The one day, I started 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we started at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. The 30 minutes before. Matchmaking, not all.
So I'm going to tell him what he's trying to say is this was crazy. And every week, right, there was always inner conflict of who's going to be what, we had a Stings over here and we had Ric Flair over here, which was WCW. And, then you had Scott Hall.
No information.
Yeah. And there would be a match on the board and a white racer board, outline of a match, who's going to go what.
But this is a fake too.
Yeah, 30 minutes before, everything will get erased and they will rewrite the whole thing. Then, every week.
The 10 minutes, 5 minutes before to the start show, first they're writing some single match.
Yeah.
But no, this is 3 minutes before. Producer called all NWO boys go to the ring.
Yeah, they would change everything. So what happened? I'm going to tell you this is what he's talking about. Like, I'll give you my side. They will give us matches. Okay, you on the show, second hour, you and Ultimo Dragon versus whoever, right? Juven de Guerrero. But all the NWO guys would all of a sudden get a call and said, everybody go to the ring, begin the match, begin the show. They would go to the match and everybody talks, right? And nobody listened to the director, so he gets long.
Yeah. Because before 30 minutes before this match line-upping, they go WWE.
So
somebody make huge because first match is maybe junior heavyweight title match. So WWE make lineup too. They change us in lineup to waiting because this is we final でこっちもターンして OK.
We got to remember, WWE show a lot of times was taped. So, every other week, right? So, of course, infamously, Eric will give away their finishes, before our show starts. And even they would have people, our producer would be watching their show, when their live shows, and, they're going to have their cruiserweight matches. So we would counter with, NWO. Because this was a big storyline, so they wouldn't watch their show. So it was.
だからその時あれですよね。もうスコットホールとか、要はそのスタジオしてるっていうのをそのテレビでオンで、お前らどうのこうので、今のジュニアウェイトのヘビーの試合して、お前バカだろじゃねえかっていうような。ずっとそれで10分ぐらい通してよ。
Yeah. So doing an interview, on their NWO promo and our show. He would give away their finishes, what's coming matches are at WWE. It was really crazy. 本物喧嘩してたよね。
Yeah, 本物喧嘩just.
Yeah, they were really fighting for real. I mean, trying to get one on each other. It was pretty crazy.
Interesting. So they were just constantly changing the structure on you guys and just kind of
unbelievable. They would tell us like 8-minute match. Great. You and Ultimo Dragon versus Juven de Guerrero. You have 8 minutes. By the time we go in the ring, they said, referee comes to us and goes, go home. We just got in the ring, tell us to finish the match. Yeah, because NWO, they were the top story, so, they would go long. They wouldn't listen to the director.
I think there's just 5 minutes, players keep speech. But 10 minutes, to the ringside, this promoter said, more. We must make stretch.
Yeah.
The final, Scott Hall or Kevin Nash or Haruko, everybody maybe more too tired to talk. Give me a mic.
Yeah. Well, one time he says, they wanted to go longer on a promo. So Kevin Nash didn't want to talk anymore. Scott Hall didn't want to talk anymore. Hogan didn't want to talk anymore, so they shoved the mic on him.
Youって
Oh, he swore. He said, "F you" on the live TV. And director said, no. He didn't know.
That's awesome.
Live TV, brother.
Oh, man. So I'm not going to ask which one you preferred because that could put you in an awkward situation. But I do want to ask, so what were some differences between performing in America versus performing in Japan? Did you notice?
どうやってレスリングが違いますかね、試合とかは。
でもまあ、30年前とかは、やっぱりその、国によってアメリカ、ヨーロッパのお客さん、日本のお客さんっていうのが違いましたけども、今はほぼ世界中のレスリングファンのその反応というか理解度というか、っていうのがもう同じになってきてる。
He said the difference was back then, 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, there were definite difference between European style wrestling, Japanese style wrestling, and certainly United States, American style wrestling. But now, because of internet and more information and all that stuff, so I think fans are much more smart, I should say. If that's the right word, I'm not sure. But, it's pretty much equal what the match looked like, whether you see in Europe or Japan. It's becoming much more closer.
ピープルもだからね、お客さんが変わってきたと思うんですよね。今お客さんは親切。昔のお客はやっぱりなんか危険なことを一個バンってやると、やっぱそれ以上のことができるのかなっていう、そういうなんかね、ことをやっぱお客がリングの雰囲気って作ってるから。
He says, fans have gotten so different, from 25, 30 years ago till now. He said the fans now are much more kinder because he believes that because they understand the wrestling, or smart, to the wrestling, I should say. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Back then, the emotion probably moved much more because they weren't smart, So
yeah,
that's probably the difference.
Okay, that's a good take to have, honestly, and something that I was thinking about as well. I don't know if I'd say smart or informed, honestly, because
probably that's probably informed is probably more right word, I would think.
Yeah, just thinking about because now that we have the access and it's so much easier today to watch almost any company in the world. Right. I can pull up Lucha Libre stuff right now. I can pull up New Japan stuff right now.
ルチャレブで見れるし、インターネットがあるからさ、日本の新日のものを見えるし、世界中で他の国のものを見えるじゃん。Yeah, I think I agree with you 100% that fan has more choice, and without a doubt. But one thing I will tell you, the great wrestlers like Chono-san is, these guys are illusionists. I say this all the time. I get to be on the ringside, many of their matches, and I'm amazed at what they do physically, because what they do is amazing physical stunt. They really give their body. I don't care what you say. If somebody jumps off the top rope and lands on you, there's no, it hurts.
Yeah.
Damages and it breaks. And they do these guys were doing this, day in and day out. So in a way, they're physical illusionists.
Mm-hmm.
They make me, and of course, we want to go there and believe that they hate each other emotionally and want to fight each other and want to kill each other. And I think that's an amazing art form, and nobody want to know, for me, nobody want to know how that, I know laser saber is not real, but if I'm watching Star Wars, I'm not telling myself, oh yeah, that's just green green screen or whatever. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I want to believe that stuff they're doing is real as possible. So, and it's a suspended reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to forget about what I have to do tomorrow for work.
Exactly.
You know, I want to watch the show. I want to be at the arena and take in everything that is out there. And I think these guys are amazing artists.
Oh,
You know,
totally agree.
And I think that get missed. You know, the respect that I have for Mr. Chono, Great Muda, Keiji Muto, Hashimoto-san, Jushin Thunder Liger, the New Japan talent, especially aforementioned, is amazing talent.
Yeah.
And they're giving us amazing amount of entertainment value. You know, from my perspective. You know,
Totally agree with you, man. And I mean, something that I also did want to give as a compliment to, you know, Mr. Chono as well was the fact that his style in the ring, it feels more real. It feels more raw. It doesn't feel like there's no frills about it.
ほんまにいつも、本当のようにすごい見えましたって。
まあそうですね。まあやっぱ見られてるっていう、まあ背中とこっちの前の正面と両方にこうなんていうんですかアンテナこう状況を理解 しようと、ね、するんですけども、まあでもやっぱその中で自分が第三者カメラとして見たときにどういうふうになってるのかっていうのもやっぱり意識してましたよね。
He said, you know, one of the things that I realized and certainly made it into my art form was that, you know, I'm projecting myself through camera to the fan. You know, whether the camera's behind me or in front of me, you know, and that's probably, as an artist, that's probably one of the most important things.
It is. That's a very good point. Now, we are coming kind of closer to the end here, and there's a couple of sort of generic questions that I do kind of like to ask towards the end. One of them being, who do you believe is the greatest of all time in the ring?
蝶野さんは誰が一番だと思いますか、プロレスラーは。
まあやっぱり首相の猪木さんですね、アントニオ猪木。
He believed that he was Antonio Inoki.
Inoki-san. Totally agree there. I can definitely see that. And, you know, I've had plenty of guests on the show. I think 5 or 6 now have all said Inoki-san is the greatest of all time. And yeah, I can totally see why. He was definitely an innovator of the time. Now, if you could tell a fan of, or somebody who's just getting into wrestling, who maybe has never heard of you because, you know, they haven't been into wrestling yet, 1 or 2 matches of yours that you would want them to see, which ones would you say?
新しいファンに、蝶野さんの一番お客さんが見て
宣伝するとしたらどの試合か。
どの試合だ、そうそう。
まあ G1 トーナメント。
G1 tournament.
ファーストマッチ。
First match.
のファイナル。
Final match. Yeah. G1 tournament.
Okay. Mr. August himself has spoken. I can see that for sure. But also on top of that, so one thing that I always like to ask, and this gets some interesting answers out of everybody, I feel like, if you could go back in time to, let's say, the day before that you ever stepped into a dojo or anything to give them one piece of advice, knowing everything that you know now, what would you tell yourself?
もし、時間を戻して、蝶野さんが、道場に入る前に、アドバイス一つありますかってあげたら、自分に。
ないですね。
I really don't have it.
いや、一個のミスじゃなくてもミスがいっぱいあるから。
He said, I have so many misses. You know.
Yeah, because ビギニングのワンミスをなくしても多分その後のミスが。
He said, even if I can correct the first miss, there were so many more missteps that I had. So I don't think that'll help myself to give advice to myself.
Well, that's fair enough. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not a bad idea just to not change,
Right.
everything that has gone on, because it wouldn't have led you to where you're at now.
いや、今までね、チェンジない。今、これが、長野さんがここまでできて、チェンジいらないよね。
いや、もうチェンジはいらないです。だから、今だからやっぱ60、今2ですけども。
He's 62 now.
やっぱ毎年というか、もう、レスリングやってた時みたいに、逆にレスリングやってた時って、なんていうのかな、毎週そのビジネスのコンディションが、落ちたり下がったり、落ちたり下がったりっていうギャンブルがあるじゃないですか。
はい。
年取ってくると、この健康とのギャンブルの戦いがね、
He said, when I was wrestling at my height of my wrestling, you always have like your health care up and down, you conditioning of, when I say condition, not necessarily cardio conditioning, but, whether it's ankle, knee, those injuries. But as you get older, like 62, he says, now, it's similar, but not the physical thing so much, but the lesson is the same.
そうだね、プレッシャーがね、センプレッシャーがまだキープしてます。
Yeah, he says, I still feel the same pressure.
Interesting.
Better.
Wrestle Magic.
So, this is where we ask our guests for any recommendations for the audience. This can be movies, TV shows, video games, milkshake flavors, cat breeds, I don't care, whatever favorite kind of cactus that you like. So, just something that you guys would recommend for the audience. Can we start with Mr. Chono, please?
今日のなんか、レコメンデーションの、お客様に見てる人にレコメンデーション何でも好きなことありますって、だから食べるものでも何でも。
そうですね。
ペットのことでもとか何でも。
でも今は、自分が、その腰の方の手術をして、で、今ようやく良くなってきてるんで、やっぱレスラーもみんな、長州さんも、藤波さんも、天竜さんも、武藤さんも、やっぱみんな腰に病気をみんな持ってるわけです。
He says, one, Choshu, Riki Choshu, Muto-san, Fujinami-san, and of course he had a surgery on his hip. He said, that's taking care of your body, I guess, is probably most important as far as that goes.
そういうのは諦めずにやったら俺も今戻ってきてるから、そういうようなことも今、YouTube なんかでも上げてるんで、もしよかったら見てください。
He says, he gives, advice on his YouTube channels and stuff, and says please come and see through YouTube channels, and he gives advice of his ups and downs. So
okay, no problem with that. So what was the name of that YouTube channel, just for everybody listening?
YouTube channel.
多分蝶の YouTube チャンネル違った。
Yeah, I think if you look up Chono YouTube channel, I think you can find it.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So, Mr. Ono, how about you?
Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation for the audience?
My recommendation is this. He has Chono-san and Akira Hokuto too. They have bulldogs, flat-faced dogs. They kind of look a lot like me anyway. But I have French bulldogs and pugs and stuff like that. But animals, I work with the rescues. One thing about animals, but dogs especially, all animals the same, but dogs are bred to be our best friend, human's best friend. And they're loyal to the fault, loyal than any other human probably you'll ever face, Don't tell my wife, but yeah, and anybody, and being kind to the dogs or certainly animals, and don't buy dogs. Go to rescue dogs, or if you go to casino and win a couple bucks, donate a little bit to a rescue your local rescue area, and you know, you got to remember, to a dog, you are their whole universe. You know, and I think that's one of the reasons they don't stay in a lifespan is a lot shorter than ours is, because you got to remember that dog loves you unconditionally.
Yeah.
You know, you can get mad at him, you know, and it makes no difference in his universe if you're gone for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And if you think I'm wrong, go leave for 10 minutes and come back. And leave for 2 days and come back. His reaction is the same. Where have you been? You're my universe. So understand how dog feels. And you know, I'm a great animal lovers, and I think you should donate a little bit to a rescue. You know, if you have a good fortune, please do that.
Amen. I could definitely see
right.
that, my friend. So the last question that I want to ask interview-wise. So, Mr. Chono, if you could go back to one match, if you could go back to your prime and you could face anybody that you ever wanted from history, who would you choose?
一番チョンさんが一番トップのコンディションの時に一番トップの時に誰と試合したいと思いますか？持ち帰れたら。
だから、まあ自分のがベストの時ですよね。
そうそう。
まあだからベストの時の、それとベストの猪木さんとやってみたいですね、一回ね。
He says, I would like to wrestle Antonio Inoki when he was at his best. And when I was at my best. I would like to, you know, that would be a dream match.
Absolutely. Totally agree. All right. So we're at the end of the interview here. Mr. Chono, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Mr. Ono, let me try to say this because I've been trying to practice a little bit of Japanese here and there.
Oh, okay.
Podcast にご出演いただきありがとうございました。
はい。素晴らしい。
Yeah, you might.
はい。
Did I do all right?
Very good. Yeah, very good. Yeah, you hit it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so with that, where can the fans reach you if they want to try to connect with you, sir, outside the YouTube channel?
長野さんもメッセージとかのおしたいとはどこに連絡できますかね？
多分そう YouTube とかですかね。
やっぱり YouTube、Facebook もあるでしょ、多分。
Facebook オープンにしたやつ。
Yeah, he doesn't have a Facebook, so it's probably YouTube. You can connect through that.
まあ X は、X も見るかな、
Yeah, and X, you know, you can reach out to him.
Okay. Easy enough. We'll be sure to get that contact detail and probably list it right over here for everybody. Mr. Ono, would you like to give your contact as well, or?
Listen, I'm around all over the place, but yeah, Facebook, Messenger, you know, X, you can contact me pretty much, but Facebook Messenger is probably easiest. I'm usually on there, you know, since I'm retired. Only time I get to do any great work is when I invite great Chono and of course this time it was NWO Muta. No, I'm around with Jushu Tanda. I'm very fortunate. I got to manage these guys, work with these guys. So whenever American promoters or international promoters, like people in Kuwait, people in Israel, people in Qatar, they call me and ask me to see if I can get Mr. Chono come over. So, you know, but you can reach out to me through a messenger, through Facebook. That's probably the easiest.
Okay. Easy enough. Well, guys, you know how I always end the show. Firstly, you guys can reach me at MaintenanceMav on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And then lastly, as you guys all know that I always say, do something nice for somebody. You never know who needs it out there. Reach out, talk to a buddy, or, you know, just reach out to somebody who needs it out there on the street even. It can be as simple as just handing them a $5 bill, or, you know, you bought an extra coffee at Starbucks and said, hey, man, here you go. I don't know you, but here's just a simple black coffee for you. And with that, in the words of my buddy Memphis Mark, we're out.
Wrestle Magic.